today you can see the mic like way farther up. Like I was just watching my video yesterday, a bit of it, and every time I lifted my ASU shirt up, it was very clear that when I would lift it up, it would sound better. And I was like, fuck, I want to put my mic up higher, but I can't, because if I put my mic up higher, then my ASU shirt, or most of my shirts, I actually don't think this one because it's tighter on me, but my shirts will like collapse, and the collar will be all messed up like that. And today I spent like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes on Amazon, and I was looking for like a solution. Well, first I AI'd. I tried to figure out a solution through Perplexity, and then it gave me solutions, and it was like, oh, you got to wear a lanyard around your neck that has a magnet on the end of it, and the lanyard's adjustable. So if you have the lanyard, it's magnetic on the end, and you could put your microphone, you could attach it to that. And so instead of your shirt being load-bearing and it being dragged down, it's load-bearing around your neck with the lanyard. And as I was looking at it, I was like, there were some big-ass ones, and there were ones that were like super small, and everything had 3 reviews, and I was just like, and then I looked on the DJI website, and at some point I was like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? This is the biggest waste of time. I'm not doing any of this. I'm just gonna let it collapse my shirt, whatever. And so I decided, fuck, that's what I don't want to do. It's too much. So that's it. And I felt like the videos from the last 2 days were a bit too orange, a bit too warm with the temperature. I had it at 5,000 Kelvin on my camera. I just pushed it down to 4,000 Kelvin. So I removed a bit of the warmth, and I added some coolness, some blue. So we'll see how that looks. Because when I was looking at it yesterday, I thought, okay, this just looks a little too odd. I don't feel I have a crazy amount to talk about today. I guess one thing that I'm excited about is the direction my work is going. So, something that I have really enjoyed doing with my free time, or we'll just say something I've really enjoyed doing, is learning software engineering, learning coding. I spent about 8-9 months learning Python a couple years ago, and that was my second stab at it when I tried to learn Python, I think 4 years ago. And I was already an Excel whiz from working in finance. And I learned pandas in Python. I learned a lot in Python. I learned object-oriented programming. That took me a while to grasp. And so I've been navigating so much toward code. Honestly, I don't even really want to talk about that, to tell you the truth. I don't know what I want to talk about. This might be the first video where I'm just blanking. Oh, I have tea in the kitchen. I have this cough, as you probably know from the last couple days. And my girlfriend insists that I make tea with honey and lemon because I do a horrific job taking care of myself from like I hate cooking. I hate cooking. I always would eat out because I would despise cooking. And since I met my girlfriend, one thing she's loved to do for me has just been cook for me and cook such big meals that I have food through the week. So cook a huge meal on the weekend, so I basically have lunch through the week. And then in the dinners, I'll get like frozen Trader Joe's stuff, or I'll eat out. Like tonight I had Jersey Mike's, and I love Jersey Mike's. Let's see. I think it's worthwhile to check in with how this whole talking to the camera thing is going. I started this. This is my 11th video talking to the camera. And I still remember day one. I guess let me go back a little bit before that. As I mentioned in one of my first 10 videos, I stopped making extremely polished content. I stopped making content that was extremely polished, extremely targeted towards a specific group of people, like towards a niche, like a niche of people with certain problems. I stopped wanting to edit. I stopped the whole scripting thing. I stopped all of it because I fucking hated it. I think, at the time, I would make scripts that I thought were gorgeous and aligned perfectly with what I thought. Completely perfectly with what I thought. But organically, I was just getting crushed. It's interesting because I did paid for a little bit. I ran ads on my videos for a little bit. And my metrics from paid everything was truly fantastic. It was so good. But and they're two separate paths. But all of my metrics from organic, that means people just pressing on my titles, seeing it on their homepage, seeing it in the related. The impression click-through rate, which would mean, someone sees the video and they click it. So for every 100 people that see your thumbnail, those are 100 impressions, and something healthy, I think, is anywhere between like 3 and 10%. Like that's the average. I was at like 3%. And so I didn't see my impression click-through rate as the problem. It was the retention. And so I would make these scripts that I thought were truly beautiful, and I could swear would help, were a solid place where people could get help. Not like I'm not a medical professional, but I know a lot about psychology. I know what I believe are the psychological frameworks that just make so much sense and are super evidence-based. But I was fucking wrong. I made plenty of videos, and no matter what I think about how good my editing was that I would edit, no matter how good my scripts were, and I felt like they were truly perfect. No matter how, sophisticated it was, no matter how good I thought all those things were, the numbers didn't lie from organic traffic. The numbers didn't lie. And the numbers told me, this ain't working. And I couldn't figure it out because the paid metrics that I was getting were so unbelievably good. They were so good. But organic, not at all. And I never wanted to keep advertising. I did it because I thought that it would help get my account some momentum. And I stopped, and when I stopped, everything stopped. I said it's been a few months, and the organic isn't picking up. So with that, and me hating the scripting at the end, because I would spend so much time scripting. So the pre-recording, I would spend immense time. And then the recording with the teleprompter and everything. And then the post-recording of the editing, the thumbnail creation, the description creation. I mean, all of it. At some point, I just said, you know, once, it was like 2 or 3 things hit at once for me to just say, I am fucking done. It was the poor organic, and despite me iterating multiple times, like I was convinced on this niche, on this specific topic that I wanted to continue going around. I tried all the iterations around that, didn't work. I was hating the scripting. It's more precisely, it just got exhausting. It got exhausting. And I hated, you know, on Sundays, spending hours and hours and hours, Fridays and Sundays, spending hours. And all of the editing, I just got sick of, and the rewatching before I would put everything on YouTube. Like, I was just fucking done. And I mean, so when I decided, I mean, it wasn't like I just decided like I'm done with this. It was actually a very slow burn. It was like, I gotta put my tea down to use my hands. God, that tea is so good. It was like I had like the content that I was making here, or at least I had the motivation to make it here. And then I'm looking at like the side of my monitor. And then I had this other idea over here of just taking a more raw, authentic approach. And it's not like it just went like that. It was like this, and then it was like this, and it was like this, and this, until it just was like this. And I said, fuck this. I said, fuck this. I'm done. It's beyond, I promise, it wasn't sour grapes. It was never sustainable. I didn't like it. I didn't, you know, who knows? Maybe if I had more of an audience, maybe I would have liked it. Maybe I would have. But I didn't. And I didn't like it. So I guess I don't know. But I have a good feeling that it would have stopped at some point. Because it felt too forced. It felt too dry for me. It felt like a fucking slog. Even as my paid metrics kept getting better and better, to the point of like, what the hell? Like, these are elite metrics. Even then, and that was before I really started to like, whatever. But even then, as things kept getting better and better, I just said, I don't care about this. I don't care. I don't care to make videos on internal family systems specifically for anxiously attached, overthinking, perfectionistic individuals. That's where I came from. And my original desire was to make videos for anxiously attached, overthinking, perfectionistic individuals, specifically in the dating realm, because that is where I came from. And that is what ultimately pushed me onto my therapy journey. And I learned crazy stuff along the way, such good mindset shifts. I went to the top of the mountain and down. I know and I knew and I know the path. I couldn't help anyone one-on-one. I'm not licensed. Frankly, that's not my passion. But at least being educational about it. But I hated it. I mean, it didn't feel aligned with me. It didn't. It simply didn't. I forget why we're even talking about this. I think it's because I said I was going to do a recap of how this is going. Oh yes, okay, perfect. This is perfect. So as I started wanting to just script, like before I completely abandoned the idea of making my original videos, I said, you know what? I want to script a lot less. I want to spend a lot less time. I just want to make outlines of videos and I just want to riff. And I remember I did it. I tried doing it. And I couldn't. I would get in front of the camera, just like right now, and I couldn't do it. I would spend 17 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes just trying to blurt out an introduction. I felt a lot about it. I couldn't do it. And my mindset at the time was, I can't do this. I can't. And I took the IFS approach. And I stopped working with an IFS therapist because I feel like IFS is a box of tools. You learn a damn good box of tools. And I had worked with my system enough for my system to trust me and for me to know how to lead from self. I had developed the awareness of my system to be able to internally diagnose what's happening in any present moment or in any given moment with most of the time. I said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I started feeling like all of the work that I was doing in therapy on a weekly session, I could easily do outside of the sessions, and that I was doing. And it got to a point where I knew I could do it better. My system trusted me. And I say all of that because when I tried to record for 17 minutes, 25 minutes, and I couldn't say a word, and I was just flagellating myself mentally about how I'm broken and I'm not built to do this and I could never do this, I realized it's not like this whole thing. It's not that I'm deficient in skills. It's not that I don't know how to talk to a camera. It's not that I don't know how to talk. It's not that I need to learn how to speak like the 1%. It's that it was a therapeutic problem. It's that I had a deeply exiled, vulnerable belief that I'm permanently broken, and that I'm unlovable as I am in any given moment. Those are painful. Those are feelings no one wants to face, and for good reason. And as a result, I had protective parts working as a team to make sure I never felt those things. such as a perfectionistic part, one that wanted to hide behind a teleprompter, one that wanted to script everything, one that wanted perfect editing, one that just wanted control over the situation. And it was that same part, or when I stood in front of the camera. I mean, that's the part that told me to go with the teleprompter and made me start scripting word for word. Because if I could script things word for word, then there was never going to be a moment where the real me was going to be vulnerable. The real me, the vulnerable part, that the protective part, the perfectionistic protective part was shoving into exile, acting like it didn't exist, or trying to make us believe it didn't exist. It would do that by maintaining perfectionism. If I say every word correctly, no one will be able to see past it. No one will be able to see the real me. And because no one will be able to see the real me, who's unlovable, then I'll be able to present myself as lovable and worthy and not broken and good enough. And so I'm only good enough when I present as perfect. That's the only thing. I'm only good enough when I present as perfect. So I need to get this fucking perfect. You know, the rubber started hitting the road and it exhausted me. The being perfect exhausted me. That's really, at the end of the day, now that I'm just fleshing it out, like completely a retrospective, that was the nail in the coffin. Nail in the coffin is not even the right way to put it. That was it. I was exhausted by doing it. This protective part was working overtime to make sure that I never appeared as... I'll rephrase that. This protective part worked overtime to be accepted, to be enough. It analyzed endlessly. It criticized me. It would overthink just to make sure that my content was good enough. That's an incredibly noble cause. And I'm incredibly grateful for that protective part of me. It would seriously take a bullet for that very, very young part of me that felt fundamentally unlovable as he was, and like he was permanently broken. So all of this explains why when I stood in front of the camera, this protective part of me that still had a vice-like grip on me, especially like in certain situations, especially like talking in front of a camera, where I will literally post this shit to the internet and everyone can see. It wanted me to be perfect. And it took, that first day, I literally couldn't do anything. I was paralyzed I was paralyzed. I don't even remember what the agenda was for that day. Maybe I had a loose outline. Maybe I did. I think I did. I think I had something incredibly loose and I just wanted to riff on it. And I couldn't. I would start riffing and then I'd stop and then I'd get very self-conscious and I would be thinking about what I'm saying constantly, which is just like, is that not the fucking definition of anxiety? And I remember, like, it was daylight savings had just occurred and it was getting dark quickly and I started at 2. And by the time like 4 o'clock, like me recording over and over again, like the 17 or 25 minutes I was talking about earlier, like I think it was actually much longer now that I think of it, because I'm remembering the sun going down. And it got so dark that I didn't have like this setup yet with this light, but it got so dark that I ran out of time. That was a failed day. I mean, it was, this part of me was just like beating down on me because I couldn't do it. And it just proved that I am not good enough to do this thing. I'm not like those other people that could just talk in front of a camera. I'm just not. So I thought something was over there for a sec. But at that point I said, okay, I need to sit down. And I do what I always do. I take inventory of my body, and I have contextualized an AI model with all the things that I learned in my IFS journey. And I help it, or I have it help me bring awareness to myself, to my parts that are active. Help me bring awareness to the fact that, okay, I'm blended with a protective part right now. I'm seeing the world through this perfectionistic part. And that's not actually who I am. And that's the tenet of IFS. You know, these auto-flagellating thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and perfectionistic attitude and self-criticism, that's actually not the real you. Those are protective parts doing their best fucking job to keep you safe and to protect you. But their methods, they're not good. They're noble, and they'll do anything for you, but they're not, you know what I mean? And so that evening, I was just bringing awareness to, okay, how, like, I need to change my perspective here. I need to abstract up. I need to get back to capital S, self, and I need to see what's going on. What parts are present? Who's home right now in my system? And so I learned that there was a perfectionistic part of me. And I spent the next 3 or 4 days getting to know this part of me. You know, in the evenings, in the mornings, maybe around lunchtime. And I would start to see it across different domains. Like maybe playing piano at a recital, maybe at job interviews, maybe talking to a camera, maybe socializing. I mean, you know, in many areas of my life, I feel comfortable compared to pre-therapy, but it's a journey. And I didn't realize, it's like the wool was pulled over my eyes for so long with this part that as soon as it got pulled back, I could see its influence in different domains in my life. So I worked with it. And over several days, and I've gotten to a point where I can just talk and I can just be. That was like one of the first things I would talk about. I think in video 5, one of the first things I talked about was me questioning, am I enough as I am to just be, to just talk? Alex Hormozy always encourages people to niche down. Niche down when they're starting a business. Get hyper-specific with a group of people. And I had heard Gary Vee. I don't watch Gary Vee, but I had heard something he said. He said, I think he was just taking a call from an audience member, or an audience member was talking to him at one of his shows. The audience member said something about niching down, and Gary Vee, I think this is right. I think Gary Vee said, like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about niching down? Like, the niche is you. And that was one of the things that helped me realize that, it's a totally different paradigm. It's a totally different paradigm. And that's really what I'm toiling with. Is like, if the therapeutic work is done, your parts are healed, or you've built a relationship with your parts so that your self is leading most of the time. Like, I'm not talking about all parts, but I'm talking about just, let's say like right now, like I feel like self is in the lead. So if self is in the lead, that means that you can just simply be, and you just are, and you're okay. It doesn't feel exhausting. In fact, it feels energizing. It feels energizing for me to just speak vulnerably. That's who I am. Any of my close friends can tell any viewer who I am. I'm someone who for my whole life has done horribly with surface level conversations because I don't care about them. I'm someone who gets vulnerable about things and who likes to speak about things on a deeper level. Sorry, my nose is like so itchy, which reminds me, let me have some tea. I hate editing. I like speaking deeply. I like sharing my thoughts. I like contextualizing with internal family systems. I worked in finance. That's a pretty unique set of intersections, which is exactly what I think Gary Vee meant by the niche is you. You are unique. You are extraordinary. By you simply just being, you're already niched down so far. That's how I interpreted it. That's truly how I interpreted it. I'm taking 90 days to just talk like this. Just fucking talk. And I love it. After those 90 days, I plan to reevaluate if I want to keep just talking like this, or if by the 90-day mark I've gotten so comfortable with just talking like this, although I already feel like I have, but we'll see. I mean, this is day 11. Let's keep going. Maybe there will be some other thing a topic that I want to start revolving my channel around. Who knows? And I just speak authentically about that. Right now, I don't plan shit. And I just speak. And I fucking love it. Should I, in the universe of things that I talk about, do I want to look up at that universe and draw a box and just talk about those things at an extremely non-planned level? I don't know yet, and I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not. I just want to do this for a while. I think that's it. I say I think that's it because I feel like I've been speaking for a while now, and I feel like I've completed a full arc of a story in my reflections. So maybe that's the YouTube channel. Maybe every time I record a video, I just talk about a story or an experience and just give my reflections. I don't know. I mean, would I, oh my God, would I love that if I built a following? It's beyond just building a following. It's building a community of people who feel like they get something out of my videos. If I could provide value to people, even just one person, I'd be thrilled. We'll see. For now, I'm not gonna hemorrhage anything. I'm loving this. I truly am loving speaking in front of the camera about anything and everything that comes up, because it feels like the most flow state, and I get in it, and I love it, and it's truly just me. And we'll evaluate later. I'm not thinking too much about it. I just live my day, and I shower at the end of the day, and I say, well, it's time to make a video. And guess what? It's not exhausting. And I'm creating 7 times more content per week, at least. At least, actually. I think the video length here is longer. All my previous videos were like 20 minutes roundabout. Now I'm at like 25 minutes plus average. And I think this is way deeper content. I think it's deeper because it's so much more fucking authentic and raw and genuine. Maybe I'm not teaching the concepts like a textbook, like a college class, but I'm probably modeling them. I am where I am mentally from the last 4 or 5 fucking years that I spent working on myself, taking the therapeutic journey, going the long way, going the hard, truly, I think that it's the hard way. It's easy to suppress emotions. It's easy to not get vulnerable. It's easy to not grieve things that you've been needing to grieve for 27 fucking years. That's easy. So maybe just simply, the niche being me, maybe I'm just showcasing to the world what a previously anxiously attached, perfectionistic, overthinking person, and plenty more. I shouldn't even reduce myself to that, because believe me, while that may have been the most urgent thing that got me into therapy, it certainly was not the most important. There was plenty of others. So maybe this whole thing is just the raw thoughts, the raw feelings, the raw expression of someone who tries their best to embody the morals and code and ethics and belief structures of internal family systems, and someone who's been doing that for years and who's put in immense is an understatement, but immense amount of energy into thinking that way, and just truly trying to just be a better human, be better, be more patient, be more compassionate toward myself, heal myself, become more human. I guess that's it. I feel like now I'm really circling the drain with my thoughts, but I hope you guys liked that. I'll have the last few sips. That was that. That was really good. That's it, guys. I hope you liked that one. If you did, I would love if you subscribe. If you didn't, then I hope the next video you watch gives you value. And that's it. Thank you.